And we're live. I usually time that better. Oh well. hang on. Hang on. Oh. There we are. There it is. Alright, let's see. I'm gonna turn down the audio just a smidge. There we go. I think last time I was getting washed out a little bit, so never hurts to kind of like tune that a little bit better. So, as I kind of warned earlier on, things would be a little bit flaky. Things are definitely going to be a little flaky. So I am in process of packing things up and getting ready to move and trying to find a place to move to, which is oh so fun. But that's kind of the big thing that's going on. So hopefully I'm gonna try something a little different to try to make sure that streaming isn't gonna like take a whole ton of like my focus. More than like it should. So the idea is that I'm gonna shoot for hour-long streams for probably a month and change, depends on really how long it takes for me to get things set up once I have a new place. But then we can go back to doing like the typical 2-hour streams that we target. So that's kind of the plan here. And hopefully it all works out well, because I'm just looking in this room where like I'm streaming and I need to do so much packing. But we'll get there. So yeah, I'm gonna be shooting for hour-long streams instead of doing like the 2, sometimes 3-hour streams. And yes, I am completely side-eyeing this game of like, you're going to not go over 2 hours. You will not go over 2 hours. So, because this game like has long chapters and I'm not gonna play around. If it gets to like an hour 30 and like it doesn't seem like the chapter's wrapping up, I'm just gonna say, you know what? I'm gonna get to like the next like segment and I'm just gonna like call the stream there, because I really do need to focus on packing. So got too many things and got a lot on my plate, to say the least. So we'll get there. Making sure that everything is streaming correctly. They changed the layout a little bit. I'm used to seeing like the bitrate being like this green or red, and they just changed it so that it's just this white that everything is. And, okay, I guess we're good. I mean, it's still going, so we're good. Anyway, so it's kind of a big thing, so it's going to affect the next few streams. The other thing to go over is, because of course it is a new month since I have last streamed. Whoops. And so for this new month, the specialty stream at the end of the month is going to be a casual speedrun. And kind of fitting in with that idea of like, okay, I want to like shoot for shorter things that like I can reasonably do. It's actually going to be Super Mario World, and it's going to be the all castles route. So going through all 7 castles and then Bowser's Castle, and that's going to be it. So that will be on the 30th of this month. And so yeah, that should be fun. So that'll be good. That'll be nice. So I figure like a nice easy game. Alright, well with all that out of the way, oh hey, it did turn green, cool. I'm so just goldfish brain right now, like squirrel mode distracted. Okay, with all that, we will go ahead and continue. I'm gonna absolutely forget all the voices. Just a heads up, because, The Adventure of the Clouded Kokoro.
I begin to think, Wilson, said Sholmes, turning his head languidly in my direction, that there is more to this case than that which we have observed. Indeed, that there may be another part to this story that we are yet to discover. His eyes wandered, following the steam rising from his cup of herbal tea, leading him to the distant memory of that snowy evening. To the young lady collapsed on the pavement along Briar Road, and to the knife in her back. Lit in the soft glow of gas lamps, a most extraordinary scene had been set. And under the cover of a light fog, the curtain had risen silently on the insoluble mystery of our invisible killer.
Ooh. Did you sleep last night, Mr. Naruhodo? No, not at all. I'm getting right back to the voices here. It was an enormous hotel, wasn't it? The rooms were so luxurious, I felt like we were staying in a palace. And with all the gas lights twinkling, it was brighter than day, even in the middle of the night. But what about the enormous beds? After my time on SS Buria, I wasn't going to waste a single inch of that space. I spent the entire night rolling from one side of the mattress to the other. Oh yes, it really was the sort of night you can only dream of normally. Except when I learned that we owed £3 for the rooms, that dream quickly turned into a nightmare. Oops, sorry about that. The building was so impressive and the entrance so inviting, I just wandered in without thinking. In a lodging house in Japan, that sum of money would put a roof over your head for a whole year. I did try, but I'm afraid I couldn't help my tears when we were presented with the bill. I really am sorry. Well, never mind. We must find some more affordable lodgings straight away, though. If we're not careful, our entire stipend will be used up in 10 days or less. London is a scary place. Oh, this is such a mood right now.
Good morning to you at this early hour.
Oh, yes, well, we are, well... Good morning to you, Lord Chief Justice. We have come to report on the outcome of the trial at the Old Bailey yesterday. Mrs. Utterson is amazing. She doesn't bat an eyelid, even in the pressure of the imposing Lord Strongheart.
Yes, I believe you had a very comprehensive initiation into British courtroom practices.
Oh, yes, it was very, eye-opening, thank you. And in accordance with your instructions, Lord Strongheart, Mr. Naruhodo performed his duty to the end.
Yes, I've already been apprised of events. You conducted a remarkable defense. You may consider the test passed. No longer are you a student from the Empire of Japan. You may henceforth claim to be a full-fledged lawyer. My country is delighted to welcome young talent from such a remote eastern land.
Thank you very much. So, I'm a lawyer now.
Now, in view of your appointment, I have a fresh case in mind for you. I'd like you to take it on at once. I trust that won't be a problem.
Another case? Already?
Nothing trains a lawyer better than practical experience. I'm sure I don't sense dissatisfaction, do I?
It's just that yesterday's trial ended unusually. I haven't quite come to terms with it.
What's to come to terms with? The man was cleared. What more were you hoping for?
The culpability of the defendant has not, at present time, been established by this court. Consequently, the jury will not be required to proffer judgment.
Well, Lord Van Zix, it's been a pleasure, so it has. And as for you, me dear fella, I couldn't have asked for a better defense. I just can't help wondering if Mr. McGilded really was innocent. Mr. Naruhodo, it's just that I never managed to ascertain the truth, and then the trial ended.
Well, you needn't let it trouble you for a second longer.
Sorry. What do you mean, Lord Strongheart? Oh, they don't know.
Magnus McGilded passed away immediately following the trial.
No! What? Mr. McGilded is dead?
I have 19 minutes and 41 seconds until my next engagement. Time enough to talk.
And talk we shall. Yeah, so if you remember from last week, if you remember from the last stream, after the case, Magnus McGilded was brought back into the courtroom to investigate the omnibus, and then it played a cutscene of the omnibus on fire and somebody trapped inside. So, yeah. I don't understand. What happened? How can he be dead?
After the trial concluded yesterday, there was a great commotion in the Old Bailey. As you'll presumably recall, an omnibus had been wheeled into the courtroom.
Yes, of course. That was the scene of the crime, which Mr. McGilded had been accused of.
Precisely. Well, while the bailiff's attention was devoted by some other matter, the omnibus went up in flames.
No. How could such a thing have happened?
That is being investigated as we speak, but already the police have identified a corpse found inside the shard shell. The police have identified a corpse found inside the charred shell of the carriage as that of McGilded.
That's awful.
The man must have slipped inside whilst the bailiff's attention was elsewhere.
That bailiff really needs to pay more attention. And how could that have happened?
That is also being investigated as we speak.
Thinking back on it now, immediately after the trial, Mr. McGilded did mention going back into the courtroom to look at the omnibus. Well, I must be making tracks now. It is time for the inspection. Sorry, what inspection? They're going to examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for it myself.
conducted inspection of the omnibus? Not to my knowledge. I don't believe Scotland Yard had any intention of re-examining the carriage.
But then, who was Mr. McGilded talking about?
Never mind that now. The Yard is making a thorough investigation. This matter is no longer any concern of yours. Leave it to the police.
Poor Mr. McGilded.
So, how did you find your first taste of our country's Supreme Court?
Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, it was... wow, Mr. Naruhodo means that the whole experience was steeped in the solemnity of Great Britain's long history. It's really a world apart from our own judicial system in Japan, which is only a few short decades old. Wow, Suzato-san has such a way with words. And you seem to have a way of failing to find the right ones.
Oh. The judicial system here is the most advanced in the world. Learn all you can.
The most advanced in the world, is it?
It was fortunate that your very first trial was a simple affair.
Simple? That was simple?
As I believe I mentioned yesterday morning, it was a trial you couldn't lose.
I don't mean to be contrary, Lord Strongheart, but that case was anything but simple. The circumstances of the case were so incriminating that I was stunned when I first heard them. In fact, I'm still finding it hard to believe that we managed to get a favourable verdict. Is something funny?
No, my apologies. However, the fact is that you did receive the not guilty verdict you set out to achieve. And that can only be attributed to exceptional talent. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, I don't know about that.
Well, never mind. You exceeded my expectations, I freely admit. That much is at least an undeniable truth. Which is precisely why I have prepared the new case for you that I mentioned before.
What's going on? What was he going to say before? Could you perhaps give us some more details about the new case you mentioned? Don't tell me it's murder and the trial starts in 10 minutes.
Don't worry, it's nothing so alarming or quite so urgent as your last assignment. In fact, this case is completely different.
Oh, I see. Did he just read my mind?
That is to say, no one has died, as yet. And the trial will not be today. There is plenty of time to research the case thoroughly. 23 hours, 43 minutes, and 19 seconds to be precise.
So the trial's tomorrow, then. Is everything alright? Yes. I'm just a little confused, that's all. Yesterday's trial was... well, it's left me wondering if I'm really cut out for being a lawyer. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. I don't know if I can face standing in that courtroom again after Mr. McGilded's trial.
Ah yes, I nearly forgot. There is one similarity with yesterday's case. Once again, There is currently no one to advocate for the defense.
Oh,
If the situation remains unchanged, the trial will start tomorrow with the defendant unrepresented. And if that happens, I need not remind you of the inevitable outcome.
the most terrible end awaits the defendant.
Yes, that's right.
Ugh. Here we go again.
Your time is up. You will have to excuse me. I would advise you to begin making preparations for tomorrow's trial. After all, the clock is ever ticking. There is now but 23 hours, 26 minutes, and 39 seconds until the court sits.
Last time he mentioned 23 hours, he said there was plenty of time.
And one more thing, Mr. Naruhodo. There is something I should like to ask you.
What's that?
Yesterday, you remarked upon something. That you intend to see through the will of your late compatriot, Mr. Asogi. I would be interested to hear what exactly you mean by that. Inside 34 seconds.
Oh, well, Kazuma always used to say, you see, that he wanted to learn how the greatest justice system in the world worked so he could change ours in Japan. And now that he's gone, I'd like to work towards that myself. And there's another thing. Oh,
Another thing. Continue.
on the way here, on the steamship, he said something to me. There's something very important that I have to do.
Something very important. And what exactly would that be?
He never got a chance to tell me. I suppose he would have done if he'd ever made it.
You're out of time. Well, thank you for your enlightening discussion.
Mr. Naruhodo, what's this all about? Mr. Asogi never once mentioned anything of the sort to me.
I urge you both to focus your attentions on the matter at hand. I've taken the liberty of summoning the police inspector in charge of the case.
Oh boy, I don't know what voice I'm doing for him.
He'll be able to apprise you of the details.
How long has he been there?
So, I wish you the best of luck, and bid you farewell.
Okay, what voice am I doing for the good inspector here? There's something very important that I have to do. Kazuma-sama, what did you mean? I wish I knew, but honestly, he never told me. Anyway, we'd better talk to the detective, don't you think? Yes, you're right. I hope I'm just imagining it, but I wouldn't say he looks too pleased to see us at all. Oh, listen to that clockwork. Alright. Could we trouble you? What do you think? Lovely weather, isn't it? What's the weather got to do with anything? Listen to me, you young Japanese upstart. Some frippery around the weather doesn't get every English gent eaten out of your hand, you know. I guess this is the voice we're doing. I don't know that I like it, but here we are. But Suzato-san told me it was foolproof. I'm a busy man, a very busy man. There's a crime scene to investigate, but I'm here having to give the likes of you a talking to. Oh, I'm ever so sorry. Can you imagine what other officers there will be saying? Haven't seen Gregson anywhere, have you? No, he's too busy with the big wigs these days. And all because of some bumpkin who's here on a jaunt from a country I've never even heard of. Hear that ripping sound? That's my reputation at the yard going to tatters. There's no need to rip us apart as well. I don't believe we've been introduced. This is Mr. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, a defense lawyer. There. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant. It's lovely weather we're having today, isn't it? I love that. The juxtaposition of like, oh yeah, well, when Suzata's in charge, like, it's all just good. It is unreasonably fine, I grant you. London winters don't see a lot of sunshine. Unbelievable! How did she pull that off? So, Lord Strongheart asked me here to fill you in on the case. The name's Tobias Gregson, Inspector Gregson to you. I'm from Scotland Yard. Gregson? Inspector Gregson? What's the matter with Suzata-san? Does this detective's name mean something to her? Inspector, are you perhaps the Inspector Gregson? You're acting like you know this man, Miss Susato, but he's a London detective. Oh, I do know him very well, in fact. Very well? Yes, he features prominently in The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Oh, in that publication. What's it called again? Ranced Magazine? That's right, Inspector Gregson and Mr. Sholmes enjoy a wonderful friendly rivalry. Really? You rival the great Mr. Sholmes? That's incredible. Oh, well, I don't know about that. Mr. Sholmes isn't a professional like myself, of course, but he does come up with the goods from time to time. Mr. Sholmes is equally complimentary about you, Inspector, isn't he? You've earned his highest praise. Gregson is the pick of a bad lot of all the Scotland Yarders. Those were his own words. That's his highest praise? Well, Mr. Sholmes isn't particularly known for giving compliments, you see. That he is not. And thanks to that magazine, my name's known all over London town now. That's great, isn't it? Well, I have to admit, to start with, I was a little, well, flattered by all the attention. Everyone wanted to shake my hand, and my reputation around at the yard went through the roof. Well, that's wonderful. No, it's not! There's nothing more sinister than the man on the street. People are always looking at me now. They're whispering rumours about me under their breath, I'm sure. But rumours? Are you quite sure? He's changed since he started appearing in those stories. The fame's gone to his head, stuff like that. Gosh, do you really think people are saying such mean-spirited things about you? Like I said, they whisper, so I can't catch exactly what they're saying. But I know what folk are like. I'm sure that's what they're saying. Sure as eggs is eggs. I get the feeling this detective could be very hard work. Oh dear, perhaps a sudden rise to fame does change people. So, about the case that Lord Chief Justice mentioned before. Nothing to tell, really. As far as we're concerned at the yard, it couldn't be simpler. Oh dear, that probably means that as far as we're concerned as lawyers, it couldn't be more complicated. I wish you were wrong about that, but I have a nasty feeling you're right. A young woman was walking along the pavement at Briar Road when she was stabbed from behind. Fortunately, It wasn't fatal, but she's still laid up in the hospital, unconscious.
That's despicable. What sort of coward would attack the poor woman from behind? I suppose you would have finished whoever it was off with the Susato takedown, would you? That's neither here nor there, Mr. Naruhodo. Brace yourself, Ryunosuke. You've aided her now.
Anyway, after something of a whirlwind investigation, the criminal was arrested. He barely had time for a cup of tea after the incident took place, to be honest.
So, there must have been something left at the scene that led you directly to the culprit. Or perhaps a reliable witness who recognized the person in question.
Let me stop you right there. You're wasting your time on this one.
Sorry.
There's nothing you can do. There's no way to help the bloke now.
Why ever not?
Simple. The prosecutor that's been assigned to this case tomorrow is Lord Beric von Zeeks.
No!
Sounds like you've heard of him then.
Oh, yes. We're very familiar with Lord von Zeeks. Believed to be the harbinger of death itself. The Reaper of the Bailey.
Lord Beric von Zeeks, who we faced in court only yesterday.
Mr. McGilded told us about him before the trial, didn't he? When Von Zeeks stands for the prosecution, they call the accused his sacrificial lambs. And in every single trial in which he's been the prosecutor, the accused has been damned. The Reaper of the Bailey nickname, I suppose he's earned that because every defendant he advocates against is found guilty. Is that it? Well, if that's the case, we should inform you, Inspector, that in yesterday's trial against Lord Van Zeeks, Mr. Naruhodo secured a verdict of not guilty.
And what of it?
Oh, well, I think that means that even against the Reaper of the Bailey, it's not impossible to save the defendant.
No, you really don't have a clue, do you?
What do you mean?
What happened to that bloke in the end, eh? He's dead. Magnus McGilded came a cropper in that omnibus when it went up in flames. So you can't rightly say you saved the defendant, can you?
What are you saying?
Look, if Von Zeeks could get the dirt stick on anyone, he'd be a miracle worker. But that's not how it goes. He doesn't work miracles, he works magic. Black magic. I'd have a good long think about that if I were you.
Are we really supposed to believe that?
Right, well, I filled you in as requested, and I'm nearly out of chips. So I'll be heading back to the crime scene now. We're still carrying out a few investigations there.
It was Briar Road, you said, didn't you? Where the incident took place?
That's correct, ma'am. And if you head over to the holding cells, you can meet the criminal himself.
You've branded him a criminal already.
He's as good as. Shaking like a leaf in his cell he is. It'll give you a chuckle if nothing else. He's inmate 53. Speak to the jailer and he'll show you the way.
Inmate 53. Thank you.
Okay. I'm kind of okay with that voice now.
So there's no helping anyone against the Reaper of the Bailey, they say. It's something troubling you, Mr. Naruhodo. To tell the truth, when I recall the trial yesterday, I can't stop myself from shaking.
idea of facing the Reaper in court again is... Well, if you think it's too much for you, there's no shame in turning down the case. It takes courage, too. But if the man they've arrested is innocent... You could well imagine he'd be shaking like a leaf in a cell. And I, for one, wouldn't find the sight of that funny. So, if I'm honest, I'm still reeling from the shock of yesterday's events myself. And I'm really not sure if I'll be able to help this man, whoever he is. But I'd like to try, so I think I'm going to make some inquiries. Will you help? Did you really think you had to ask? After all, I am your judicial assistant. Thank you. So then, shall we? Yes, let's go. Oh, this is so cool. Okay. Let's see. Ooh. Which one do I want to start with? Either way I go, I'm gonna have to figure out more voices. Oh, the amount of voices in this game. It's a lot. I'm kind of dreading this. I'm not a fan of this case. I know that like there are other people that are. So, it's gonna be a thing. So these are British prison cells. Oh, they're ghastly. It feels like a dungeon. Yes, and having experienced it in Japan myself, I can assure you that our wooden cells feel a lot cozier than these cold stone walls. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo, you're making it seem worse. Apparently, our client is in this cell here. But it's so dark back there. I can't make him out. I wonder what he's like.
Inmate 53, your legal representative is here to see you. Stop hiding the back of the cell and show your face at once.
Am I a cat, as yet with no name? Calling me by a number. It's utterly unbelievable, unjustly unreasonable. I refuse to answer.
Okay, I kind of like that voice. This voice, like, I'm okay with this voice.
Mr. Naruhodo, what do you think is going on here?
I have no idea, but if I wasn't just hearing things, was I? That tirade of complaints was in Japanese. Hello. Excuse me, but shh,
quiet.
He's so fidgety and, like, this is, like, off-putting to me.
They're all around, hiding. I know they are. They're watching, listening, even now. I can sense it. Right, so, could I... There you are! You've come towards me, haven't you? Don't try to hide it, you're a ghost!
A ghost?
We mean you no harm, prisoner son. Are you... Japanese, by any chance? This is beyond my wildest dreams. Forgive me for that outburst before. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's fine. We're just a little surprised, that's all.
Imagine it! It's been 12 long months since I left my hometown, and here I am in a frightful fix in a foreign land. So, hearing the sweet, sentimental tones of a compatriot's voice here in this damp, dark hellhole was most monumental, moving moment. We could have guessed that this new client Lord Strongheart assigned to us would turn out to be a fellow Japanese. Ah, what compassion my fellow countrymen show to dispatch a first-class lawyer all the way from Japan to defend a mere foreign student. Noble, nurturing, never-failing Nippon! A first-class lawyer? Oh dear, I think there's been something of a misunderstanding here. I wonder, would you be so kind as to tell us what's happened? Why have you been detained as a suspect, for example? Yes, I can, I will. Shan't stay sullen and silent. I'm not quite sure I understand what he means, but he seems happy. Yes, he does. Just hope he actually has good reason to be. Thank you for your cooperation. I'm a lawyer, as you said. My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. And I am Naruhodo-san's judicial assistant, Susato Mikotoba. I am a visiting student sent here by our government. Nobly, notoriously named Natsume! Soseski Natsume.
I think I said Soseski instead of Soseki. So,
Soseki Natsume-san. What an unusual name. Call me Soseki, please. I'm a poet, you see, a writer of haiku. It's something of a nom de plume. A nom de plume? You mean an alias? That's right, Naruhodo-san. No! Don't be so prosaic. It's much more refined than that. Haiku, that really reminds me of home. Did I hear you say that you were a visiting student, sent over here by the government? Yes, that's right. A year ago, I was told to go and study English. First, I had to suffer that misery, and now this. It's beyond the pale. Suffer that misery? Did you not want to study here? No, I mean, I've had an interest in Great Britain for some years, of course. Oh. But just because the government tells you to do something, does it mean you can do it? No. What do you mean? If they told me to study English literature, that I could understand. That's my field. But no, they told me to study the English language. Utterly, unbelievably, unjustly, unreasonable.
He's so much. This is funny because, like, we're gonna see, like, some weird, like, interesting comparisons to a cat. And I think the reason that, like, I find, like, this character as off-putting as I do is just because, like, of how much he is. And in a weird way, like, kind of more, like, I'm a cat person over dogs because dogs always feel like so much and just so much energy, and it's like, oh, I really can't handle you right now. I get the feeling from this character. So yeah.
I see. Only the other day I was told to send a report about my first year here. I tendered a blank piece of paper. Wise words on white washi. You must be a man of great standing. Oh yes, so I'm often told. And often like to be told, it seems.
Could you perhaps tell us exactly why you've been arrested, Suzaki-san? I didn't do it. I didn't commit that atrocious murder. Murder? Oh, no, it's all right. The woman didn't actually die, did she? But she was stabbed with a knife right before my eyes. Before your eyes? You mean you saw the attacker? I didn't see anyone. What? If I'd seen the person who did it, do you think I'd be locked up in here? Oh dear, it seems this case is becoming rather complicated. Why me? Why me? Why did that silly woman have to be stabbed in front of me? It's a curse, the curse of London. It's incredibly, inexcusably, irritatingly inconvenient. I'm getting out of breath just voicing this. So, Suzaki-san was there at the scene, but he didn't see the attacker. It's vital that we find out more about the case. Okay. It was an accursed evening, just after the snow had started to clear and heavy with fog. I'd been to the bookshop to buy some books, and I was on my way back to my accursed lodgings. Sure, the bookshop wasn't accursed too. As I was walking along that accursed pavement, I could make out the sole silhouette of another ahead of me. A woman wearing a green overcoat she was. And just as I went to overtake her, she suddenly let out a little scream and collapsed into the cold, hard slabs of stone at my feet. How terrible. I called out to the woman, but she didn't move. It was like a ghostly, ghoulish, grim graveyard. A slight exaggeration there, perhaps. I was terrified. I had to get away from there. So I ran as fast as my legs would carry me back to my accursed lodgings. That's not good. They'll say it was shameful, I know, to run away like that. Tell me, Suzaki-san, was the victim an acquaintance of yours? Don't be ridiculous! Do you think that I know any of these fair-haired English? And a woman at that? I'm diffident, shy, timid, unsure. I can't talk to people. I see. A young woman, unknown to Suzaki-san. And at the time it happened, who else did you see nearby? Did anybody pass you? Regrettably, apart from myself and the woman, I didn't see a soul. No one? Oh, great. So the victim was unknown to you, and there was nobody else on the street at that time. That creates something of a conundrum, doesn't it? What conundrum?
Oh, Reno's okay.
What do you mean, Suzato-san? What's the conundrum? Well, if what Suzaki-san has just told us is true, there is something I can't explain. He says that he didn't know the victim, and that there was no one else at the scene. Then he apparently fled without having been seen. I did! But if that's the case, surely this man has to be the culprit. Ah! You! What did you just say? Nothing. I didn't say anything. Oops. Perhaps I thought a little too loudly. Actually, that's not what was troubling me. What I was thinking was, how did Suzaki-san actually come to be arrested? Sorry. He didn't touch the victim, and there was nobody at the scene to see him. So how did the police ever discover that he was there in the first place? Oh yes, she's right.
was him. That accursed great detective. He led the police to me. Of all the bad luck. Accursed great detective. Could it be? I shall never forget that man's name as long as I live. With his haughty laugh and his self-proclaimed greatness. Brash, big-headed, busybody. May you be accursed to the end of your days. Herr Lock Sholmes. I knew it. Mr. Sholmes? Well, I didn't expect to hear that name from this man's lips, that's for sure. It was the morning after that nightmare had unfolded on the pavement before me. I was gnawing at the sliver of hard cheese when some men suddenly burst through the door. They started shouting at me, "This is the police! Put the weapon down!" Yes, it was a thin sliver, and yes, it was hard, but I wasn't eating a weapon! Disgusting, dietary discrimination, devils! You clearly had a trying morning yesterday. And so there he was, in the middle of all the policemen, grinning like a Cheshire cat. That Herr Lock Sholmes. It's actually just Herlock Sholmes. He's English. I've since found out that he's a famous name in detection here in London. Yes, the great detective is really, very well known. And his overly sharp mind managed to deduce my whereabouts, apparently. He thinks I'm the knife-wielding madman. Me, this weak, stooped kitten of a man. I wonder what great deduction process led him to his conclusion this time. Do you mean to say that Mr. Sean's deduction was the only reason the police arrested you? That would be really most unreasonable. The thing is, I was thrown into panic when they barged their way in. Of course you were. That's only natural. I was terrified and trembling, and they kept throwing question after question at me in impossible English. Fiendish foreign flammery. Well, we are in England. You can't really blame them for questioning you in English. Good point, but my mind went blank. I knew I had to answer, but I didn't know what to say. So I just kept repeating things like, "Yes, I do, and I'm fine." The next thing I knew, I was in manacles, and before I knew it, I was thrown in here. Oh dear, I'm afraid that's hardly surprising. I'm fine? He's not fine now. Mr. Naruhodo, Esquire! You can just call me Naruhodo, and when we're speaking English, a simple Mr. is more than enough. Oh, yes, alright, yes, they've really got me. This country is poisoning my mind. Please, I beg you to defend me in court tomorrow. You can tell them what really happened. You'll do it, won't you? Well, Why? Why is it so hard to say yes to me? Well, the thing is, I'm just a student like yourself, on a study tour. A student? I have defended a case in the Old Bailey. Only the one, though. But at this moment in time, I really don't know what I'm supposed to believe in. I'm confused about what justice in this country even means. Oh, Naruhodo-san. I'm not even the foreign student who's supposed to be here. I'm a sort of locum lawyer, I suppose. But that wombat, that's the market defense lawyer from our great empire.
It's a keepsake from the man who should have been here. He was my best friend. A keepsake? I know exactly what they're saying about me. Who do you mean? The lawyers. All the British defense lawyers. They won't defend me. Goodness! Why do you say that? For the same reason as you noted before. When it happened, there was only the victim and myself around, and I ran away from the crime scene. I'm not a fool. I know it looks as though I must be the culprit. It must be very hard for you, Sasaki-san. Anyway, I'm a student from overseas. I'm just a foreign nobody to them. Somebody not to be trusted. I heard them openly laughing about me before, in my earshot, without any compunction at all. Any trial for this man would be a waste of time, they said, and of course the foreigner did it. They even had the gall to say the man doesn't understand half of what's being said anyway. That's awful. They're wrong! I've studied more English than half of the policemen out there on the streets. I've travelled halfway around the world to learn about these people's country and its great history. But no one here wants to listen to a man with a strange accent. They all hate me. So, at the very least, I'd like to entrust my fate to someone who can listen to me in my native tongue. You could do it, couldn't you? When I look into your eyes, I can see it. I can see what you've been through. Sasaki-san, it's just that... Give me a little time, please. I'll do what I can for the time being. What do you mean? We shall investigate the case as thoroughly as possible. If we can find some clues, it will give us a much better chance, I'm sure. Oh, yes, thank you. I'll be here, all alone, waiting for you, locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. We should be going then, Naruhodo-san. We have a case to prepare for. Okay. That was not a bad moment there. Like, to just be able to just, like, kind of, like, take, like, the kind of, like, jittery feeling of him and just, like, ground him a little bit and just have that moment. So this is where it happened. Briar Road. Ah, look, Mr. Naruhodo. Look at that regulation metal helmet. It's unmistakable. The men of Scotland Yard are here. They're investigating as we speak. That is their job, you know. But, Mr. Naruhodo, to see one with my own eyes. They're often depicted in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes, but I never dreamed I'd come this close. To real Bobby's helmet. What? The helmet? Of course. I have to try one on one day. Well, I hope your happy dream comes true. Oh. What's a Japanese delegation doing here? Oh, Inspector Gregson. This isn't on the tourist trail, as I'm fairly sure you're well aware. Yes, of course. We're here to investigate. So you've been to the holding cells then? What do you make of the criminal? He's not a criminal, as you put it, Inspector. He's a suspect. We'll see about that. You Japanese like to stick together, I suppose. Well, do what you will. Doesn't bother me. The bloke's in court tomorrow, whatever happens. and the verdict's a foregone conclusion. Ugh. The stone-cold air of rejection.
Take heart. London at this time of year is full of stone-cold air.
That makes it worse somehow. We'll talk first. And I think after we investigate here, I think that's where I'll call it, because that feels like a good spot to just kind of, like, call it. Like I said at the top, I just want to, like, go for, like, an hour and maybe change, because I have a lot of stuff to prepare. A lot of stuff. Okay.
Tell me about the Scotland Yard, Inspector. Ever since I read about it in The Adventure of Sherlock Holmes, I've been fascinated by the place.
The Yard is the most sophisticated policing organization you'll find anywhere in the world, ma'am.
Oh, and you know, I've always dreamed of wearing a real Bobby's helmet.
It does make them look the part, seeing that policeman there with his helmet on. You'd certainly get the sense that this man is a man who will take no nonsense in the duty of protecting the city.
Oh yes, doesn't he look wonderful?
Being a London Bobby is hard going, I can tell ya.
Oh, really?
First thing in the morning, you know what he does? Goes round and rouses all the labourers on his beat so they can get off to work.
What? He wakes people up?
Yep. Raps on their windows with a long pole. Did it myself going back a bit.
I had no idea.
The Bobby works for the people of the town. It's just another one of his duties. After that, he starts tirelessly patrolling the streets all day long. He has to cover 20 miles a day. That's a regulation distance.
I can't really imagine how far that is, but it sounds like a long way. Let me see. 20 miles. That's approximately the distance from Tokyo to Yokohama. On foot? That's definitely taking things a step too far.
And when it gets dark, of course, he has the important job of lighting all the gas street lamps.
Oh my.
And I suppose in between all of those duties, Bobbies are expected to investigate cases as well.
And chase after criminals trying to evade the law.
I'm not sure you could call it in between exactly. More alongside, but yes. They're expected to handle those jobs as well. We do have men keeling over from time to time, I admit.
I've always dreamt of wearing one of those helmets, as I said. But it's with a heavy heart. But I shall have to relinquish that dream to you, Mr. Naruhodo.
Your heavy heart will be my heavy head if you do. It happened at around 5 in the evening 2 days ago, just there on that open bit of pavement. The victim, a young woman, was stabbed with a blade from behind.
Is it right that the lady is still unconscious now? You mentioned that she's being treated in hospital.
I never said she was a lady. Truth is, unless she comes around pretty smartish, won't be able to find out much about her at all.
Well, I suppose that means that they haven't been able to take a statement from her, of course.
Here's a map of the local area I happen to have on me. You can take it if you want.
Really? Are you sure?
It's Yard policy to give lawyers, defendants, suspects the odd bit of information to go on.
I haven't actually accepted the job yet, but still. Thank you, Inspector. We gratefully accept.
Hey, we got a local map. Let's go ahead and check that out real quick. Because we can now. Okay. Pretty straightforward. So, anyway, as far as we know, there was no one else on the scene other than the victim and your fellow countrymen. So who did it, do you think? Not much of a head scratcher, is it?
Well, I know Mr. Natsume is also claiming to not have seen anyone else around, but just because he didn't see anyone, it doesn't mean we can be sure that nobody else was present.
I'm sorry to have to tell you, but we most certainly can be sure.
How?
Because, ma'am, the precise moment of the stabbing didn't go unnoticed.
What?
You have two very reliable witnesses, no less. It was a typical foggy London day, and your client obviously didn't see them.
There were witnesses now. Who are these witnesses, Inspector?
A fellow and his wife, and the man's one of the most reliable and respected citizens in all of London. He's a copper from Scotland Yard.
Oh. A policeman? That might change things. And this policeman just happened to be there at the exact moment the woman was attacked.
Nothing peculiar about that, ma'am. Part and parcel of being a bobby. Catching them, banging them, acting, all that.
Do you think it might be possible for us to ask that policeman a few questions?
Be my guest. You can ask him what you like. In court tomorrow.
Oh.
I've no doubt he'll be summoned as a witness. So that'll give you something to look forward to.
That's that then. He's got no intention of letting us meet the man beforehand, it seems. A policeman witnessed the incident. As your judicial assistant, I must warn you that this could make our job very difficult indeed. Yes, as a non-judicial assistant, I could have warned me of that too. Oh, yes, one more thing, Inspector.
What?
The person who led you to the suspect, I hear that was Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
What are you bringing him up for?
Was it something I said? The color strained from his cheeks.
Who did you hear that name from?
Oh, well, it was Mr. Natsume who mentioned it. He said that Mr. Holmes was with the police when they entered his lodgings. I'm sure it was the result of Mr. Holmes' inspirational great deductions.
Fiddle-faddle! The man's an amateur, and I'm getting sick and tired of his showing his mug everywhere.
Oh.
I don't know where he gets his information from, but he turns up at the scene of crime, wanders around spouting incomprehensible rubbish, and before you know it, he claims to have solved the case.
Yes, he's quite astounding, isn't he? He is a great help to Scotland Yard, though, isn't he?
Gibble gobble.
Ugh.
Ever seen this before?
Oh, yes, that's Rand's magazine. The wonderful publication in which the adventures of Sherlock Holmes appears.
Yes, well, that wonderful publication, as you put it, sees fit to include several of the Yard's detectives in its stories. And the so-called great detective makes a mockery of all of us. If you ask anyone at the Yard, it's a misadventure to be included in any of Sherlock Holmes' tale at all.
Well, I suppose there's an element of that.
We work our socks off, every one of us, only to be frumped by the public thanks to this obnoxious detective. The man's as dangerous to us at Scotland Yard as he is to all of our criminals.
That can't really be true, can it, Inspector? Clearly, the great detective and the police have a complex relationship.
Oh, that twitchy Japanese bloke goes on trial tomorrow. Are you going to defend him or not? Well, makes no difference to me, but I will just say this. No London lawyer with assault would touch that case with a barge pole. Because the prosecution is being handled by the Reaper of the Bailey, you mean? There's no way to save the man now. It's a waste of time trying. It is all a bit strange, though. Sorry. The Reaper. He hasn't appeared in court once for a good few years now. Yes, we did hear something to that effect. The only people he usually bothers with are the real scum. The master criminals. The violent ones. Master criminals? The violent ones? That's right. He handpicks the victims. Only deals with those guaranteed to go to the gallows for their sins.
But Mr. Natsume wouldn't hang for what he's accused of, surely?
That's just my point, sunshine. Yes, the young woman was stabbed, but it didn't kill her. Couldn't even say the intent was there. So this isn't the sort of case I'd be expecting the Reaper to want to sink his teeth into, for want of a better phrase.
Well, it's not exactly a minor infraction, though, is it?
No, there's got to be more to it. Some reason he's taken an interest.
Really? What sort of reason, Inspector?
You think I can tell what's going on inside the head of that Lord of Darkness? You'll have to ask him yourself at tomorrow's trial.
Are we really going to have to face the Reaper again? The Lord of Darkness, as he put it.
Oh, Susato's so good. Susato's so good.
Well, I don't think we're going to get any more useful information out of the detective. Mr. Naruhodo, can I make a suggestion? Oh, yes. What is it? Well, it seems to me that we must speak with him about this. By him, do you mean Mr. Sholmes? Yes, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, exactly.
Look at those shining eyes. You can't wait, can you?
Well, Mr. Natsume did blame Mr. Sholmes for all of this, didn't he? Yes, he did. He really did. Which makes him an involved party in the case. Are you going to just ignore that? I hope not.
She is so eager.
I assure you, it's...
As if she knew. She knew.
I assure you, it's not simply my selfish desire to meet with Mr. Sholmes again. The trouble is, we have no idea of the man's address. It's Baker Street. How did you know that? It's in the stories, of course. 221B Baker Street, the most famous address in the world. Oh, I see. Well, there's nothing to stop us from going, I suppose. We'd better try and find our way there before Suzato-san gets any more excited and unpredictable.
Oh, I'm going to just go for it.
Hoorah! I'll summon a carriage. So we'd have a reunion already with the great detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes.
Okay, tell you what we'll do. We'll go, see him, and then I think I'm going to call it because I'm really draining on energy right now, which is, notable. Hey look, a new location's been added. Oh, I love this.
Can we really visit, do you think? Oh, pinch me, I'm sure I must be dreaming.
Oh, Suzato-san.
Thank you very much. It's just up there overlooking the street. Good day. Thanks again.
This is it. The residence of Mr. Herlock Sholmes.
And here we are, as chaotic as it feels like it is for me needing to pack things up. Stuff everywhere. So this is where the great detective makes his living. It feels surreal to be here somehow. Is it as described in the stories, Mrs. Otto? Mrs. Otto-san. Many famous cases have been solved here in this very room. Oh, I suppose they must have been, yes. I've never read the stories, so it's hard to get quite as excited about as she seems to be. The detective chases the villain relentlessly as he disappears into the fog down an unlit London street. Oh, the thrill of it, the romanticism. Can't you feel your heart thumping in your chest? Can't you, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, I suppose I can, yes. So, if you don't mind, I'll just stand here and soak up the atmosphere for a while longer. Please don't mind me. She's obsessed. Well, it looks like our detective friend isn't home at present. Excuse me, is anybody home? Oh, do we have a visitor? Hello, is it a big new case for Mr. Sholmes? Hello? Wait, aren't you... Oh, how rude of me. I'll go and make some tea at once. I'm sure it's the same girl. Mrs. Otto, did you see the girl who was just here? Oh, yes. Isn't it truly extraordinary? Oh, to think that the King of Bohemia came here to this very room to ask Mr. Sholmes to take on his case. The King of where, Ria? King William Gottfried Sigismund von Ornstein, of course. Sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Forget the adventures of Herlock Sholmes for a moment and look over there. The tea's brewed, and I have a freshly baked cake as well. Ah, it's you. I knew it. Susato-san recognizes her too. Ah, there you are. And taking that with you as well. I was looking forward to the trial run of my experimental smoke grenade launcher. Oh, good day to you. I'm, well, the inventor, I suppose, of that machine. It's the girl who turned up at the end of Mr. McGilded's trial in the defendant's antechamber. I never met a lawyer from the Far East before. Poor you, having to get straight to work when you've only just arrived in London. Oh, yes, it was challenging. Well, try this tea. It's my special blend, you know. Oh, thank you. Is tea supposed to look that color? Oh my, what a fragrant yet mellow flavor. Hooray! It's a winner! I tried blending different leaves designed to alleviate fatigue, you see. You must be exhausted after your long voyage here. And you have another ticklish trial tomorrow. Oh, and... Oh! Wait. Was that her? Oh, and you're to defend a Japanese man. I do wish you lots and lots of luck. I didn't see her lips move, so I wasn't sure if that was her. Did Mr. Sholmes tell you about us by any chance? Oh, you know Hurley, do you? Hurley? Mr. Sholmes to you, surely. Mr. Sholmes was a fellow passenger on the boat that brought us to Great Britain, you see. Was he really? Well, I had no idea. I'm afraid Hurley's out on an errand again today, even though he's just returned from overseas. Wait a minute. We met this girl for the first time yesterday after the trial, and only briefly at that. How on earth does she know so much about us? Did she deduce all these things, do you think? And perhaps more to the point. Oh yeah. Gina's definitely got a lot that like we'll see, like especially towards the end, like some of those moments. Why is she here in Mr. Sholmes' suite? Oh, silly me. I haven't introduced myself, have I? It is a great pleasure to meet you both. My name is Iris Wilson. I live here together with Hurley. Ah, Iris, is it? What a lovely name. What's the matter? No, wait, this can't be. Did you say that your name is Wilson? What's the matter with Susato-san? Why is she so flustered all of a sudden? Yes, that's right. And what are your names? Oh, I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo, a lawyer from Japan. Oh, sorry. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, Susato Mikitoba. It's wonderful to meet you. Lovely, Susie and Bruno. Got it. Susie and Bruno? There's more to this girl than meets the eye. I have so many questions for her, I don't know where to start. Yes, and so do I. Okay. Well, sorry to stop it there, but I am running low on energy. And as I've mentioned before, I'm going to be doing shorter streams, or trying to do shorter streams, just because I've got a lot to deal with, and I need to start packing and getting ready to move and finding a place to actually move to, and there's a lot on my plate right now. So I'm going to be doing shorter streams, and that should help get me back into kind of streaming regularly, while also like not like just kind of like sidelining me in like trying to get things ready too. So that's the hope, at least. We'll see how that works. So again, at the end here, so the specialty stream for this month is going to be a casual speed run of Super Mario World, and that is going to be the All Castles run. And so I feel like that's going to be like a nice, good kind of like middle ground kind of stream. So we might be able to even get like 1 or 2 runs in, depending on how long it takes me. Even with like, you know, trying to like stream for an hour and change. So that should be a good one. And then we will continue this, hopefully next week, as long as like I don't get too sidelined. So we'll see about that. But hopefully like everything will get settled pretty quickly, and we will be going to like these hour-long streams for probably about a month, which should hopefully get me settled in when I do move, and then we'll be able to resume from there. So thank you so much for watching the stream, and I will see you next week, where we will continue the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Alright, thanks for watching, and have a good one. Bye!